guys, Gaming Stag here, and today I'm going to be doing a guide in OBS Studio. Now that it's well out of beta, I thought I would do a guide of it because OBS Studio is what I use to do all my recordings, and when someone says to you, download OBS, people get scared. Why? Because of the settings. Everyone gets confused about the settings, but really, there's only a couple of things you really need to change to make it yours. Now these settings I will be showing you will be wired and customized to my personal PC and monitors. I've got a funny resolution. Nonetheless, these are guidelines of a high-end computer. 60 FPS Ultra if you're playing games. Okay, which I presume you are if you're watching this, or if you just want to watch your screen. Now this is for recording purposes rather than stream purposes. I'll be doing a streaming guide probably some point in the future, but this is primarily for recording. Now, as you can see, I have an infinite loop of OBS. That's because I'm recording this video with OBS and I'm recording my display, and it's making that effect. First thing you need to do is, of course, download OBS Studio, which you go to obsproject.com. Link will be in the description. Here we have it. Alright, you download it and you install it to wherever you want. Classic's down there. They're kind of pushing Studio rather than Classic now. So, download that and you should have something like this. Except this is blank, this is blank, I think this is blank as well. So in terms of user interface, you have your scenes here, you have your sources here. I'll go over those two in a minute. We have mic audio, because as you can see, as I'm talking, that green bar goes up and down, and then we've got decibel audio, which I've muted because I don't need it for this episode, this video. Scene transitions, you don't need to worry about, that's for streaming. Studio mode, you don't need to worry about, that's for streaming. We're going to go over settings in a minute. Stop and start recording is the same button, very self-explanatory. Start streaming, of course, that's for streaming. I don't really use file edit, all this up here. I tend to not use it at all. But if you want to, then that's fine, but I'm not going to go over those because they're kind of the things that you would expect on file edit, view kind of stuff. Scenes is kind of like renaming a file. What you go to find that file. For example, if I recorded some project cars, for example, okay, I know that has my window within that looking for project cars window. To make that a lot simpler to understand, sources. I have display capture. Now when I was talking about there about OBS looking for some particular thing, you're going to set that. So you're going to add, I'm not going to go through all these, I'm going to just go through the ones that you will most likely need. Display capture, game capture, window capture, and video capture device. So if I wanted to capture project cars or in a game, I have 911 operator open at the moment for this particular purpose. Game capture, you can call that or whatever you want, or you could add an existing in my other scenes, right? So of course I haven't named them, so I don't know which one they are if I wanted to do that, but you know, I plan actually just renaming them whatever game it is, right? So that is what is open at the moment. Plus OK, full screen application or a specific window. I do recommend specific window, and this is what I'm talking about when you're setting OBS to look for a specific window. So every time I click on this scene, I will be saying to OBS, look for 911 operator. If it cannot find it, it will be a black screen. If it can find it, it comes up like this. So if I go into, and I move my mouse around, there we are. I come out again. That is game capture. Game capture captures full screen application. So in game, if you have it to full screen, then that is fine. Now I'm going to exit 911 operator and I'm going to relaunch it in windowed mode. It's one of those games where you do some of the settings before it fully launches. So I'm going to fire that up in windowed mode right now. And I'm just going to delete that because I don't need that anymore. I'm going to add a window capture. So this is a windowed thing, so Steam is windowed. I don't think it captures it though. Oh look, window. There is Steam, however. Yes, it does. I wasn't sure on that. Okay, press OK, boom, and you have your window. It's at a funny resolution, so that's why it's not doing the entire screen. Of course, you can edit your scenes and stuff, which I'm going to explain how to do when I get to the webcam, which is just in a second. Now, if you're struggling, if your game is in window capture and it's not picking up at all, you've restarted OBS, you've restarted your game, you're tabbing in, you're tabbing out, what I recommend is before you do anything, do tab into the game, because sometimes it does take a second for it to go from a black screen and recognizing the window. If you're using window capture, it's not picking up, go to game capture, see if that's the problem, and vice versa. If you're in game capture, it's not picking up, go to windowed capture, because sometimes that works. Sometimes it's a bit iffy on that. Sometimes you're in window capture, but it picks it up in game capture. It's funny like that. I can now delete that, because the last thing I'm going to actually go over is your video capture device. But of course, your display capture is what you're seeing at the moment, which I haven't actually technically gone over. It captures your screen, your desktop, your mouse, and everything like that, rather than a window or game capture where it captures anything within that window that you do or within that game, if that makes sense. So if we add a video capture device, this is essentially your webcam. Now, as you can see, for some reason my webcam isn't being picked up. Now, I have a vlog scene, so I'm going to delete that and actually demonstrate and add existing, because I know it works and I don't know why it's not picking it up, if I'm not quite honest with you. Add existing, make sure it's the same type, video capture device 1. Here it is. Boom. There it is. So I've just added an existing one from a previous scene, so I know that was my webcam, and therefore I can then position that, for example, in that corner, which is now what I'm gonna whoop a wrong window. I'm gonna demonstrate editing in OBS your layout. So just click and drag and hold, and it will go wherever you want it without pressing any buttons, just your mouse. You can scale it. You press Alt, you can crop it. Some sides it doesn't do. Is it that side? Oh no, it does do all of them. Shift, you know, stretches it and stuff. So, and if you press Control, as you can see, it keeps that aspect ratio. It kind of locks it as well, if you need to do that. So if you shift it, then control it, yeah. It's really Shift and Alt you need to worry about. Shift. Whoop, I'm selecting the wrong thing again. Shift just stretches it. I don't see why you'd stretch, if I'm honest. And then you've got your Alt, which should crop it. Let me do that again. Alt. I'm pretty sure it was Alt, yes. I don't think I was pressing it properly. That's sometimes what happens. Make sure you actually select it before you go and do stuff. I know I've stretched that a bit, but I'm going to leave that up there. And as you can see, as I've added one, here it is down here. But I've muted it because, you know, would be my webcam audio coming through anyway. Okay, so that is your scenes, that's your sources. Of course, if you want me to go through each of these individually with a bit more detail, I'll make a separate video of that, because it's going to extend way too long if we do that. Okay, now I'm going to go into the mixer. Now the power of Studio means usually when you're recording OBS Classic, I used to record my audio in Audacity, record it in OBS, and had to manually sync them. Don't have to do that anymore, because OBS Studio allows for up to 6 separate audio tracks. So I have my mic audio that I'm recording at the moment separate to my game audio, which is fantastic when editing. Something happens, cat meows or whatnot, you can just edit that bit out instead of editing the sound from the game out at the same time, because usually they are combined into two. Don't ignore the video capture device at the moment, right? You want this kind of layout. So this is my desktop audio, so my game audio, for example, is on track number 1. And then my mic is on track number 2. Usually, when it's default, it looks something like that. You don't want that, otherwise it will go on 4 different tracks. Now I'm going to show you later in Premiere Pro, because it is open at the moment, how that works, okay? How that works. Now, make sure you've got this kind of set up. If you want your mic in audio track 1, you can do that. But make sure they're only on 1 track, otherwise they're just going to mold onto other tracks. Just be wary of that. Now if we go into settings, you've got your general, you can have your theme to be dark if you wanted to, or default. Honestly, you don't really need to do anything. You miss out stream because we're not streaming. Output, we want to go to recording, make sure your output mode is advanced. Now, these are my settings, and they're kind of a guideline rather than specific. This is why for a high-end computer, rather than, because every computer is different. So some of these settings, I'm going to say, play about with it if it doesn't work. Because let me just demonstrate. Down here, when you're recording, it will say if you've got a CPU outage or it's high encoding, and therefore will affect the actual video itself. So the recording path is where you store them, where you want them to go. Mine's on my D drive and videos. Your recording format will be default of FLV. Change it to an MP4 because it's a lot easier and everyone knows an MP4. Encoder, because I have an NVIDIA graphics card, I have the NVENC H.264, but I think there'll be either a X264 or a H.264 other option. But as I'm recording at the moment, I cannot change them because some of these are grayed out, as you can see. My resolution is 1680 by 1050. Yes, I know, I need a monitor upgrade. Rate control CBR for low file sizes. Mine's on 50,000. Now what I recommend is maybe go for 3,500 to around 7,500, and then kind of, if you've got a high-end computer, 50,000, because that's really nice, it's nice and crisp. But maybe 10,000 or less if you have a lesser computer. I don't think I've changed any of these, that's the thing. Only a couple things in OBS you need to change. I presume these are default, but I don't think I've changed these. So it's default main auto. I think they're default, honestly. Audio, you can change your bitrate for your different tracks that I explained earlier. Your audio, you can change your sample rate. Now, my desktop audio device, because my mic, my Rode NT USB is plugged into my computer, and because my headphones are plugged into my mic, that's why I listen through my mic. So you might have a different setup, but whatever you listen to your desktop with, select that, and whatever you might use, I use the Rode NT USB, use that. Okay? You can enable push to talk if you wanted to, but that's optional. Video, do your base resolution. 1680 by 1050 is mine. I upscale to 1080 because who wants a 1680 by 1050 video? Come on. Downscaling filter, again, this is one of these things you need to kind of test out. Same with the bitrate. This and the bitrate, these settings, make sure you get the right one for your computer, and that is the most important thing. Okay. Can your computer run 60 FPS? If not, put it to 30, whatever, right? Hotkeys, you know, I've got hotkeys for muting my mic and stop and start recording. Advanced, honestly, I don't think you need to change anything. Your renderer is DirectX. Sometimes when you record your desktop, you might have to change your renderer. There is another option. So if your screen is black and you're trying to do display capture, change it, because it might be the renderer. And that's it, you don't need to worry about any of this. This is kind of the stuff that people get scared of, and you don't need to. Honestly, you don't need to. I have Premiere Pro, and I'm going to show you. Before I do that, there was a setting I was meaning to show you, which was in output, and it was in recording. Now, make sure your mixer reflects these audio tracks here. That's what I forgot to mention. For example, I want a desktop and my mic individually. So I have 2. If you want 3, you can have 3 if you so pleased to be. I Premiere Pro up, and I'm gonna fire up my videos, and I have the latest LSPDFR, which actually already might be out. Raw footage here, okay, in my videos. Okay. Whoops, here we are. This is the video we're recording at the moment. There were some tests the other day, but this is our LSPDFR number 10, which I recorded in this exact format and exact settings that you've just seen. I'm going to close 911 operator. I'm going to fire up Premiere Pro. I'm going to go new project. I'm going to go test. And I am going to import some media. I'm going to bring it across to my other monitor in a second. Just need to import this file. So let me bring my project across here so you can see. And I'm just going to drag my footage here. As you can see, 3 tracks are in play here. This is just to prove there are 3 tracks. That is me speaking. Right, so if we mute this, you can clearly see. Right, that is game audio. Yep, that's me speaking in separate tracks, and you didn't see the audio because I just muted it. The power of OBS Studio. I don't know if you've noticed, OBS Studio constantly previews. There is no preview button. Another thing I absolutely love. There's no of that. So I've just demonstrated the 3 layout that I use. It's so much easier for syncing up audio and actually focusing on editing. It makes it a lot quicker to edit. So that is OBS Studio. Really, the things you need to worry about is that kind of base resolution, that down filter, and the bitrate. That's all you need to kind of play about with. Everything else is very self-explanatory. It's kind of, you know, things that I use. And as you can see, I've got a lot of scenes here for all the games and stuff that I use, vlog, even stream. There, see? It's that's a work in progress, by the way. It's not finished because it's not the right resolution for my screens. That's a 1080p overlay, so it's not for my screens. So I'm just testing that out for our streams. So if you have any questions, by all means, put them in the comments below. If you have any problems, I will absolutely help you. We have Discord, so if I can hop on Discord if need be, and I can help you out there. So if you'd like to see more videos like this one, make sure you subscribe, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Take care.